Hi, I'm Miss Honey, and today we will talk about how to formulate evaluative statements. Before we start, please do not forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss any of my video uploads. To start, let's answer this. So, which of the following would you like to receive as a reward for getting good grades? Would you like to have a new gadget, a boarding pass for a vacation, cold cash, or a shopping spree? Now, how did you choose your preferred gift? Now, if you were your parents, what would you think they would tell you after knowing your choice? For sure, you have your own basis and considerations for your own choice. In the situation, you may have evaluated each option for you to come up with the best one. At the same time, you may have considered your needs and interests as well as the usefulness and the value of each offer. The same rule applies when you evaluate any reading text. You also need to consider your basis as evidence to validate or verify your assertions or claim about what you read. For the second question, your parents may have given you evaluative statements that express their assessment of the choice you have made. How you made your own choice is related to our topic today, formulating evaluative statements. So, according to Hernandez in 2017, an evaluative statement is an objective and tactful way of reading a text, of reacting to a text. It presents a judgment based on a set of criteria. It is the writer's way of explaining why strength is strength and weakness is weakness based on the evidence gathered. Since evaluations pass judgment onto works of authors, they must be written and expressed with care and after much diligence. You may formulate your evaluative statements in two ways, such as formulating assertions and formulating counterclaims. So, how are you going to form evaluative statements? It's very simple. Just remember the following pointers. First is begin with the positives before you point out the negatives. Remember that your evaluative statement should be factual, substantial, and unbiased. So, when giving your negative feedback, it should not sound insulting on the part of the person being evaluated. Next, suggest solutions on how to improve the written material being evaluated and provide justification for how these will work. So don't just criticize, make sure you give suggestions on how to make it better. Lastly, keep your feedback concise and precise. Be careful in giving your feedback since evaluation pass judgments onto the work of authors. They must be written carefully and expressed with diligence. Otherwise, you might be influencing other readers with your biased feedback. So let's look at the sample evaluation about the poem the student wrote. The evaluation begins with an evaluative statement that says, um, "You compose an impressive poem." So it is followed by giving positive feedback to the writer specifying the strengths of the poem. So why the poem is an impressive one. Then the evaluator also mentioned the weakness of the poem about the rhyme in the poem being forced. So that's one weakness seen by the evaluator. And after pointing out, a suggestion was given. So it was stated that the writer should be careful in choosing appropriate words. So there's a suggestion on how it could be better. Now let's talk about assertion. So an assertion is a statement used to make a declaration or to express a strong belief on a particular topic. The purpose of assertion is for the writers to convey directly an idea or feeling and convince the readers to accept the writer's interpretation of a particular literary work or written work. There are four types of assertions which are classified according to the according to the degree of certainty, and they can be judged as true or false. So, fact, a statement that can be proven objectively by direct experience, testimonies of witnesses, verified observations, or the results of research. Example, so this sentence, the first sample sentence is classified as a fact since there must be researches on the contents of Sampaguita that can be used for those purposes. Next is convention. It is a way in which something is done similar to traditions and norms. Its truthfulness can be verified only by reference to historical precedents, laws, rules, usage, and customs. Something to note about conventions is that they may sound factual due to their being derived from customs, but because they are socially accepted ways of doing things, they cannot be verified objectively by measurements. So, in this example, the second sample sentence is a convention because the classification of Sampaguita is based on the classification system made by scientists and is acceptable by the scientific community. But there could be other ways to classify plants. Number three, opinion. So it's a statement based on facts, but it's difficult to objectively verify because of the uncertainty of producing satisfactory proofs of soundness. So, opinions result ambiguities. So, the more ambiguous a statement, the more difficult it is to verify. Thus, they are open to disputes. So, in this example, this is an opinion since the claim is difficult to prove, and the truthfulness of the claim may be true to some, but not really to other people. Number four is preference. It states a personal choice in which the writer is under no obligation to support or prove the truthfulness of the statement. They are subjective and cannot be objectively proven or logically attacked. So, in this sample sentence, it is a preference because it expresses the personal choice of the writer to flowers. Now try this and answer the following. Identify them as a fact, convention, opinion, or preference. Now, what is claim? A claim is a statement about something and it can be factual or judgment, meaning it is a debatable point of the writer in the text, such as details, explanations, and other types of evidences. So there are three kinds of claims: claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy. So, a claim of fact is a statement or can be an assertion of something that has existed in the past, in the present, or in the future. So, for example, in the present time, we could say that social distancing is important during the coronavirus pandemic. So for claim of value, it is a judgment whether something is good or bad, more or less, or desirable or not. It is claiming whether something is good or the other thing is better than the other one. For example, when we say the Avengers Endgame is the best movie of this year. So this is a claim of value because it is a judgment comparing and contrasting with other movies that were released the same year with Avengers Endgame, and you are actually assigning value whether those movies are good and bad, and the best one is Avengers Endgame. When trying to find value claims, look for terms like good, bad, evil, right or wrong, or superior, best, worst. So those could be your clue words. For claim of policy, it is something that should or should not be done. The keyword is the verb should, which implies that some actions are ought to be taken, or it is a must or will be taken. Example, we should respect everyone in school. So there is the term should, all right, and people are expected to follow that. And counter claims are claims made to rebut a previous claim. So to rebut means to contradict someone's statement through a formal argument. They provide a contrasting perspective to the main argument. And to be able to locate counter claims to an argument, remember the following. First, show competence and familiarity with the writer's topic. So it's very difficult to rebut something if you don't know anything about the topic. Next, examine different perspectives and not just passively accept the writer's claim. And third, consider the topic and make sure you are willing to engage different viewpoints from your own. Because if you are already biased from the very start, or you already consider something good or bad, then it's very difficult for you to accept whatever is written in the reading material you are exposed to. Okay, so it's very difficult to be objective if you are already biased in the first place. For clarify your personal position to the topic, once you have read the entire, for example, entire reading material or article, now judge it based on what the article is and not based on the biases you have previously before you even read the article. So now, there are four elements of an argument. First is the claim. So it is the statement that asserts the facts, and a claim or assertion. So that asserts facts based on one's understanding of a particular topic or issue. So, for example, Martha is asking his father to buy her a smartphone in an example of claim. So, a counterclaim is just the opposite of claim. So, it is a statement that contradicts one's claims and is usually proven and supported by both reasons and evidence. So, Martha's father may negatively respond to Martha's claim, and that is an example of a counterclaim. So, for example, if Martha would say, I need a new cell phone, and if Mang, for example, her father would say, you don't need a new cell phone because your existing cell phone is still working. So, that's a counterclaim. For reason is the part of an argument where a statement offers an explanation behind the claim. So, Martha's offering of valid reasons to convince her father that she needs a smartphone is an example of reason. So, there could be different reasons on why a person needs a new smartphone. So, maybe, yes, it's still working, but maybe it's not effective anymore in terms of using some apps, especially during the pandemic times and you have online class, so things like that. So, evidence is the statement that proves the truth of a claim and generally leads to the conclusion of an argument. So, Martha providing evidence of the necessity of using smartphone as part of the new normal life in the time of coronavirus is an example of evidence. Now, before we end, please try to formulate your own counterclaims here. Now, I hope you learned something today. Thank you so much for listening. Until the next lesson. Goodbye.